country's second Independence Day. It's a chance to reflect on our history, something my next guest dedicates his life to unearthing. He's the founder of the Alex Breanne Corporation, a nonprofit that uncovers African-American history and connects people to their past, and that makes him a rad human. All right, please welcome John Mills. So meet Aisha.
Yes, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you as well. This is awesome. This is really cool.
I love her too. And
yeah.
Joe was gonna stay, but he had to go change. So wait, what inspired? Oh my God, we had to dry the seat.
Right.
What inspired you to do this work?
Well, I grew up in California in the 70s, and my father of the time in California, you know, the Panthers, US organization, my father aligned to those messages that they were sending with regards to making sure that you were proud of your skin color and your features and your hair. And so he tried to instill that in me. But in the 90s, I'm a little older, I have a daughter, and I realized while I was in the workforce, I wasn't presenting that way. Like, I had biases against myself. And I saw white Americans as a little more valuable. Like, I had to self-interrogate when I realized that was the case. And that freaked me out. And I didn't want that, you know, my daughter to someday come to that same place. And I'm like, how did I come to that place having this father that was so...
How did you get programmed to thinking that?
How did my mind get to that? So I wanted to figure out how to stop that. My sister introduced me to genealogy in the late 90s. And she started digging into our family. And I started getting a pride as I learned about things. Like my second great-grandfather, who was enslaved in Texas. He's from Georgia, he was brought to Texas. And his name was Ned Mills, which taught me now where my last name came from. It's just like the last name of the last enslaver, right? And so, that started me on this journey of like a deep
did not put that together. Well, your family history is tied to Juneteenth, right?
That's right.
How so?
So again, Ned was born in Georgia. He was brought to Texas. He was enslaved there until Juneteenth, when General Granger rode into Texas with the troops to enforce that the enslaved are now free, to free them. And so on that day, on June 19th, 1865, my second great-grandfather was freed.
How much longer was that after the Emancipation Proclamation?
Well, that's a couple years after the Emancipation Proclamation, but it went into effect, because that went into effect in January of 1864, but of 1863. But, you know, it was only a couple months after the end of the Civil War. But yeah, I mean, you know, he got his freedom on that date, and I see him in the census documents after that. Can't find him much prior to that. But after that, I immediately see him in 1867, because as a requirement for the Confederate States to rejoin the Union, one of the requirements is they had to register these people to vote. So you can see my second great-grandfather in 1867 registered to vote. Right? Then I start seeing him in 1880. I see him listed.
And that's a powerful thing, being able to vote and be a part of that process.
Absolutely.
Something I think that's so interesting that I learned when I did Who Do You Think You Are is that there's they call it like the document wall, before which it's very hard to trace your genealogy if you're African American, because they didn't keep records. So a lot of Americans are like, well, my family's from Cork in Ireland, or my family's from this town in Germany, or this town in Asia. But for Black Americans, we can't go that far back because they didn't keep records about us before a certain time. So, you know, that pride that a lot of people have in their genealogy, it's something we really have to fight for.
That's right. Absolutely.
And find. It's to find it is hard. Well, John, tell us about the work that you're doing now.
So, now what I do is I gained a deep pride when I found Ned, and many others. It's not just Ned. There's a lot of folks that my sister found, introduced me to, and then I would work with her, with these people. So I wanted others to feel the pride I was getting from hearing the stories of my family. So I started researching just, you know, the everyday enslaved. And then after I would find them, I would find ways to document their story and then inject them into the communities where they lived, worked, or died. And then
to help people find
to help other people see who they were. And then I would research and try to find their current day descendants to then hand them, you know, all this documentation.
Do you have like any favorite stories that you found out about?
Oh yeah, there's one that I've been working for a little over a year now about a family that lived in New Bern, North Carolina, Mary and Thaddeus Newton. Thaddeus was enslaved, Mary was free. She fled to New York. In New York, she worked with well-known abolitionists to raise the money to purchase him out of slavery, and then they moved to New Haven, Connecticut. While in New Haven, 3 of her sons joined and fought in the Civil War. One, Stephen Newton, he died with the 54th Massachusetts Colored Regiment, which is the famous regiment that's depicted in the 1989 Denzel Washington movie, Glory. So he died in the battle at the end of that movie. She had another son named Alexander who fought in the Connecticut 29th Colored Regiment. After the war, he wrote a book they published in 1910. And so I had been really digging into this family, specifically Alexander, because of this book he wrote. So a lot happening with that family.
Yeah. John connects people to their past. It's something that he did with my next guest. Meet Angela. Through John's work, she learned she's the descendant of abolitionist and Civil War soldier Alexander Heritage Newton. So this is the first time y'all are meeting in person, right?
I'm so excited.
Yeah. Been a lot of emails, but never in person. We'll meet Aisha as well.
Hi, so good to meet you.
Yeah. So you had tried to do research on your family before, right?
Just a little bit. We tried, but you know, you don't know what you're doing. We're not professionals. Got a little information. I actually born here, raised in Buffalo, but my father's from Connecticut.
Yeah.
But we just did not know our family history, and you know, my dad didn't really talk about it much.
Yeah. So what did this mean to you and your family? This is very cool.
Yeah, so I got a letter in the mail. My husband's like, here, this is for you. And it was from someone I didn't know, didn't recognize the name. It was from John.
Yeah.
And it told me about, I think you're the third great-granddaughter of Thaddeus and Mary Newton. And Mary freed her husband. She raised money to free him out of slavery. I've got these ancestors that also served in the Civil War, which was amazing. I watched the movie Glory, but never imagined that
you would have a tie.
Those, exactly. But it means everything because we didn't know this history. And, you know, now we do. I have something to share with my children, my grandchildren. Now that we have it, I don't want to lose it.
Yeah.
You know, so we want to keep passing it on. I grew up going to Juneteenth. Buffalo has a huge Juneteenth festival, but now it has a deeper connection, deeper meaning, because I have the name of an enslaved ancestor. And it just means everything. So I appreciate you so much. Thank you for introducing me to my third great-grandparents and my aunt and uncle. So it means everything. It's absolutely amazing.
And I mean, I think we're skipping over this too, but like what a powerful woman, because women, it took long to get rights to do anything. And it's like a powerless position most of the times. And like, especially like her, like trying to free, you know what I'm saying? Like that, what she was up against, how powerful, how independent, how bold, like that's a brave soul. Like to find out you're related to that, I don't know, it would make me feel more brave.
It's very powerful. It's amazing.
So yeah, she was an amazing woman.
So you actually brought something for Angela, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I have a friend of mine, her name is Erin Grignon. She makes these lineages for the people that I find so that they can see.
So cool.
They can see from the descendant, the ancestor that I started researching, all the way down to themselves. So they can see it visually in a piece of woodwork.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
And not everybody gets this, man. That's so cool. Like, gets to know that kind of history. Oh, my gosh. So you have another project in the works right now. So what's going on?
Oh, absolutely. This is in Waterbury, Connecticut. An enslaved man in the 1700s was said to have died by falling at the side of the Naugatuck River. He was enslaved by a man by the name of Preserve Porter, who was a bone doctor, and so he saw it as an opportunity. He starts using his body to teach anatomy. And after he's passed, and his son becomes a doctor off these bones, many generations of his family learn off these bones until in the 1930s, those bones were donated to a local museum in Waterbury, Connecticut. And they remained in this museum on display until the 1970s when they were taken down. And then they were studied in the 1990s by many universities. And eventually he was buried 215 years after he died. He was buried September 2013. And so I know what he looked like because when his bones were being analyzed, they made these depictions based on his skull. He had 4 children and a wife when he passed away, and they were sold off immediately when the doctor started using his bones. So we wanted to honor him in Waterbury. So my nonprofit has been working with we pulled in many different local organizations to support us on this. The mayor's office in Waterbury is behind us to create a mural on the side of the North End Rec Center in Waterbury, Connecticut, with the intent to, like, again, what my nonprofit does, inject these people in the communities where they lived, worked, and died, so that we have someone there we can revere. I tell their story. And so it's a $30,000 effort. We've raised $25,000 towards it, so we're like right there, almost
I'll
there.
cover the last $5,000
So,
for you. Yeah,
That's amazing. Well, we also believe in the work that you're doing, and so the whole corporation, the Alex Breanne Corporation, is amazing, and I know that you just got covered for that, but we're going to give you $5,000 because we know there's another project coming up. There's going to be another project, and we want you to keep going. This is such a blessing to give to people.